Live here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ponytails Podcast, episode 115. We've got Sasha. Is it Pavlova? Is that right? How do you pronounce your last name? Pardon me.
Kovalova. Kovalova.
Kovalova. Yes. So, pardon me, Sasha. Thank you for joining us all the way from Latvia. She is a wonderful five-summer book chick who's about to tell all of her experience on the book field, coming all the way from Eastern Europe to sell books in America. We love having Europeans on the show. In fact, you are starting a trend, Sasha, that our viewers will see very soon. So here for the month of May, we'll have some Americans in the house, but for the entire month of June, we're going to be, airing episodes of Europeans from not just Latvia, but Estonia, Bulgaria, and then some. We even have a French book person in the mix, so it's going to be a really fun time. And so we're excited to, have you on the show, Sasha. How's everything over there in Latvia? Go ahead and tell our viewers.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's really good. The spring is slowly coming over here as well. And I'm really excited about this opportunity to share some things and just, remember the good times.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So we'll give a few shout outs to our sponsors. In fact, shout out to Cardinal Senior Benefits. They are one of the more successful ventures in the alumni sphere. So Quentin Roberts is a 7 summer bookman with Cardinal, who's started up this whole really high producing, warm sales environment in the final expense realm. So if any of you know about Final Expense, it's a life insurance offering where what Cardinal does is they actually send out these mailings to people who qualify for this insurance. And so when people respond to that, that's all they go out and sell. So they've been doubling and sometimes tripling in business for the last 4 years since they've been in business. And pound for pound, these guys have the most production per agent in the industry. And so these guys do no cold calling, no prospecting. They work 25, maybe 35 hours a week at most. And so if you know anybody who's looking to upgrade their career, sell some insurance, I've actually worked in that industry. It's very, I don't want to say easy, but once you're in it, it's you know exactly how to do the job, and it's great. So if you refer someone to us to then refer to Cardinal and they sign on with us, you can enjoy a $500 referral bonus. And if we get 5 people to refer new agents for Cardinal, one of you referrers will go to BIZZLER at no cost. So that's pretty cool. Next, we've got Elevate Wellness. So Elevate Wellness is one of our favorites because I don't know if you're like me, Sasha, but have you ever struggled to get healthy groceries? You just kind of need a little guidance when you go to the grocery store?
all the time.
All the time, right? So for me, working with Zane and Seth, of course, with Elevate Wellness, they've been able to help me get a full diet and spell out all the things that I need to hit my protein goals and carbohydrates and fats and all those healthy things, right? Because I also didn't know how to work out at the gym, which is actually not even as important as eating healthy food. So when you have a healthy diet and you have a good workout regimen and you have a plan with accountability, you are able to really elevate your wellness, right? So elevate your body, your mind, and your life with Seth and Zane. They're awesome trainers. They know exactly how to help you through every step of the way. And we couldn't recommend them anymore. So if you want to, get your fitness game leveled up, we'll get you in touch with them. Yeah, absolutely. So beyond that, we've got Will Metcher. So many of you know about Southwestern Consulting, right? So Will, he's been with consulting for the last 6 years or so, and he's crushing it. Absolutely, raising everybody's game that he works with. He's my personal coach outside of the podcast. He coaches a podcast. He coaches me on my solar sales, and it's awesome because if you're like me, one thing I miss from Southwestern is being able to make a lasting impact where everybody that you recruit to the business, it's oh man, I'm a 19, 20, 21-year-old. I don't know anything. And you're teaching them how to grow up, and, go out on their own, provide for themselves. And The other lessons on the technical side of sales and management, those are lessons that people don't even learn until their 30s, 40s, and 50s, right? And so if you want to bring that same impact to other people, you need to work with Will Metcher. So Will is hiring. Everyone that he's worked with in Southwestern is, in the consulting side is absolutely crushing it. Andy Laws, Neil Burke-Guerrero, he's working with, Anthony. Why am I blanking on his name? Anthony, you're awesome. We love you. So if you want to work with Will and his crew there at Southwestern Consulting, by all means, let's get you in touch with him and start your career being an awesome coach. So that's all I have to say about our sponsors. Shout outs to them. Go to BIZZLER with us. You can hang out with them there. But welcome, Sasha, from Europe. We're excited to dive into your story. So you just finished your last summer this past summer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I know that Europeans kind of sell a little bit longer. So did you finish up like last month? Is that right? No, I'm just kidding.
Screw you. There was one girl who sold like for 7 months, I think, or 6.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah, it's just like I could not do it. I love books not that much. It's just
that's murder right there. It's just like even like my roommate is going to do a 14-week summer, and I've only ever done like a 12-week summer, and even that's just like, oh my gosh, Yeah. So yeah. When you finished this past summer, did you go like right back home, or what was kind of like your story of leaving the book field?
It was very interesting because I guess I wasn't sure. I didn't know when my last summer started that it's going to be my last summer, and it's kind of like those, it's this interesting thing.
Yeah.
But basically, I guess it was really tough, to be honest with you, because I got home right away, and then it was just I guess at the end of the summer already, I got sick on the last week, just out of nowhere, and just like and first I thought that I went to the doctor, and I was not thinking like what's wrong, but then I pretty quickly figured that it's just like just like mental kind of
okay.
Just done with it so much, in a sense.
Right.
We're starting on a good note, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Let's talk about it.
Let's get all the shit
rough exit from the book field. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, and then basically, that's one of the things, because first when I got approached to speak here, I got really excited, but then I was like, oh, but because as I listened to a few episodes, I just know that you ask people what are they doing now. And I was like, well, I'm still kind of, getting into it and figuring it out. So what am I going to talk about? But then, another book person kind of just threw me this idea that, like it's book people listening anyways. And, a lot of people struggle with this. So maybe it's good. Maybe you're going to inspire them or kind of level with them.
Sure.
So pretty much that's what's been happening. I kind of like for the first 4 months, I was kind of like taking a break, just like chilling, resting, gaining strength and energy. But at the same time, I was like, I've just done 5 summers, like crazy Southwestern schedule. Yeah. So I was so like constantly like pressuring myself and demanding so much from myself that I actually ended up not doing it, not really working, but not really ended up resting. So it was just like this,
just anxiously being not productive.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody's just telling me like, hey, calm down, chill. You deserve this, you've done good.
Right.
And it wasn't easy. So yeah, and then was Sizzler and VIP. I was gone for like 2.5 weeks. Yeah. Which was really cool. It was so cool.
Love it. Where was Sizzler for you?
So Sizzler was in Spain, like this Gran Canaria Islands.
Nice. Okay.
So that's like kind of on the left side of Africa, and then we traveled to the right side of Africa, to Tanzania, to Zanzibar for VIP.
Wow.
So yeah, that was so cool. It was really fun. And VIP trip was so big because it was 2 years together combined.
Right.
Because with the COVID, nobody went, so it was huge.
Wow.
Yeah, and basically coming from VIP trip, like coming from all those trips, that's when I was finally like, okay, I finally kind of let go all the pressure.
There you go.
So, for the last, like, I don't know, month or two, I've been kind of like actually, kind of resting because before, because I was really enjoying, I guess, my time off for the last 2 months only. So now I'm getting back into it. I'm trying, like,
I mean, it's summertime almost. Like people are like starting to go to sales school, and so you got like that butterflies in your stomach. You're like, oh, I need to work. I need to make money. That's hilarious. So you spent the last 2 months enjoying your time off. What was it like actually, like, before that, after the summer? So when you finished selling books, where were you selling this past summer, by the way?
Minnesota.
Okay. Midwest. Let's go. So that's awesome. After you finished selling in Minnesota, did you like stay in America and like tour around, or did you go back to Europe? What was the travel situation like there?
Well, we can't because our visa ends. So yeah,
Pretty
I
cool.
had to, I ended, I think my last day was like 28th of August. And on the 2nd, I had to be back home. So,
Yikes.
no.
Just immediately leave, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, because y'all don't really go back and deliver the books like us Americans tend to do in the business, right? You just go like, here's your books, bye, and you just go back home. So that's pretty crazy. I don't even know how to like ask you what's that like, because you're just like, that's normal to you, right?
Yeah.
You just kind of do business and leave.
Well, to be honest with you, like in UK, we had the thing where we were delivering later. But we were delivering on like Monday was the day off in UK. So we were delivering on Mondays. So, well, I hated it because it was the day off, but you're delivering the books. And I was OL there for the first summer, and we were in UK. And it was just like, it was too much of everything, honestly. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I love it because, I guess it's just, it's this, well, for me, I feel like conviction is super high because, first of all, I leave people the books. I see how their eyes light up, I leave while kids are already going through the books. Yeah. So when I go to the next house, my conviction is like 110% up there.
Everybody's buying it. Everybody loves it, right?
Exactly. Everybody has it already,
Yeah.
That's the thing. And then the pictures, because families see like, the stacks of books. And, I'm like, hey, this is what this
Look at all these units. You can buy these from me today, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, from what I've heard, delivery week sounds just amazing and really fun. Yeah. But yeah, I guess I like the way I've done it.
Fair enough. Yeah. So for those that don't know, Sasha, being from Latvia, there was like this whole COVID thing that happened a few years ago, and it like made things really hard for Europeans to leave to America to sell in the summer. So she actually sold in where in the UK did you sell back in 2020?
So it was kind of like Liverpool, Manchester area, kind of like up there.
Fair enough. Do they have the Common Core over there?
Yeah, they do. Actually,
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the math. Yeah, I think math everywhere. It's just kind of, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I guess the books really do sell themselves then, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, let's talk about like all these 5 summers, because I'm sure you've got plenty of stories from each one of them. So you finished up Minnesota last summer, UK the summer before that. Where was your first summer, and how did you end up there?
Okay. So, well, it's funny because my first year as a student, I actually went to study law. Okay. And like, well, usually when I tell this to people who know me and they're like, what, because I'm not, maybe you can tell that I don't really look like a lawyer. I'm not like fact-based. So like, that year was kind of like weird because I was like, pretty soon I figured that this is not what I want to do. And then, so my manager, his name is Gatis. It's like, you got this.
You got this.
Got
Yes.
this. Yeah. So he just approached me and I was like a pony. I was like, heck yeah. I was like, worst case, good story for grandkids,
Right.
So I was sold pretty quick. And we ended up going to South Dakota. Yeah. So it was, it was
Pretty
fun.
flat, right?
Pretty flat. Yeah, the best joke in South Dakota was that I remember I was sitting with the dad, and he had because I was working the countryside,
Mm-hmm.
and we're sitting on the porch, and we're looking at the field, and he's like, well, yeah, the joke is that South Dakota is so flat that you can watch dog running away for 4 days, So yeah, yeah. I mean, that was a fun summer. We were 2 girls in the org. I hated my roommate. We did not get along.
Oh no.
I was crazy homesick. I missed my mom so much. But yeah, it was definitely like the toughest thing I've done so far. But it was, I learned to towards the end of the summer, I actually started to enjoy it and stuff.
Yeah.
And delivered Sizzler. So
that's awesome. So you went from Latvia to the Midwest, right? So I grew up like a few hours away from your first summer turf, right? So I grew up in Nebraska.
Okay.
And I just I know that people from Nebraska and South Dakota are like super nice, super easygoing. When I sold books, I was in Massachusetts, which is very, 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 very different, right? They're kind of really mean over there, right? They call themselves assholes. So what was your experience coming from Europe, Eastern Europe, all the way to South Dakota? Was it super easy? Was there harsh rejection? Because I know you missed your mom, but what was it like talking to people, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess, well, let me think. People, overall, Eastern, Northern Europeans, excited European or Eastern, Northern European is a really low key American in general. I feel like.
Hey, you bring the hype yourself, Sasha. You're pretty, smiley and bubbly. So.
Yeah, well, few exceptions, in Southwestern, but the other ones, it's just, it's one of those things that if you talk, I feel like if you walk into Walmart, well, just general about America, you end up talking to people just randomly. Never happens in Latvia.
Yeah.
That probably happens maybe once a year to me, and it's a big story that you tell your mom, your grandma, your friends, because it's I talked to somebody. So, I mean, in that sense, it was definitely because I am more open or whatever, easygoing than most Latvians. So it was really cool. I loved it because people are so excited, and yeah, I loved it. And I'm also myself from a small town, so and South Dakota is a big countryside.
Yeah,
so
it's a big land with small towns only, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was fun.
That's cool. So when you actually started selling books out there, I'm curious because I've never moved to a country or an area where I don't speak the language, right? I've only lived in America. So what was the language barrier like for you? Were you pretty good at English before you came to America, or did you have a crash course and you're like, this is so frustrating. Why don't people get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was pretty okay. I mean, obviously first it was really frustrating, even I remember ordering breakfast for the first time and they're like, do you want your eggs sunny side up scrambled or whatever? And I'm like, what? Just bring me eggs, whatever. Boil them. I don't know. That was, little things like that. Or, I just remember, I remember my first summer. There was just this, there are many, I guess moments when you just your pronunciation or the words you say are wrong. So like I remember there was this one family my first summer, and the girl, she had like a huge balloon, and she was like, I was talking to mom, and she kept like blowing air, you know, and I was just like scared that it's gonna pop, you know. But at that moment I'm like, I'm sorry, can that balloon poop? And so like it's just, you know, moments like that, you know, or like I
Yeah.
used to say like posters, not posters, but like posters. You know, so it's just like, or like some words from sales talk that you just learn, and then
Yep.
people are like just looking at you like, what are you trying to say here? You know, it's like, but you know,
Well, hey,
in June, when you're gonna talk to more, I feel like Estonian accent is like, well, that's, yeah. So, you know, I feel like I'm pretty okay.
so Latvia isn't near as bad as Estonia. I gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
That's funny. So you like struggle with new words. Totally reasonable by all means. I will say that when you struggle with the pronunciation of a word, it's usually because you read it first. So it means you're a reader. So way to go.
Yeah.
When you were out there selling in South Dakota, was there like any drama in your organization? Like you didn't like your roommate. What else was there from that first summer that kind of sticks out?
Oh my God. So two girls, the rest of them were boys.
Hmm.
I sold them, like, you know, I was the best first year. I mean, I sold the most. So
Nice.
all the boys were just, you know, how to put this nicely. um, yeah. What else? Drama. I just remember there was so much driving because, like, in South Dakota, it's like, you know, as you said, like small cities. So it could be like this, that you have to like drive like 3 hours to get to a Sunday meeting.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, and my roommate crashed my car. That's a funny story.
Oh,
So
really? Let's talk about that.
yeah.
Okay.
So basically, okay, so I've never owned a car in Latvia, right?
Yeah.
I still don't have
Right.
a car. 25, no car. Um, Nobody has car 25 here. It's pointless. Anyways, so yes, and my first car I bought in US, and it was like a big minivan. And our DSL actually got super pissed because, you know, 2013 there was this PR thing, and
Mhm.
there was something with minivans, and we didn't
I
know
know
that.
about that 2013 summer. That was my first summer. So
Oh shoot! Oh my
yeah,
God! Okay.
it's
How was
infamous.
that?
It was crazy. I mean, I just heard everything about, for those that don't know, there was a lot of really negative PR about Europeans abducting children in minivans. So yeah, tell us about your experience with minivans in South.
Yeah. So it actually went quite good. It was a
Yeah.
nice minivan. One day I was following my OL, and my roommate, so she worked by bike, and she was like, "Hey, could I like work with your car?" And I mean, well, first of all, we didn't get along, but second of all, like I didn't trust her. But I
Yep.
didn't want to be like, the party pooper or whatever. So I was like, well, I don't know. Ask Gatis, you know, because he's your OL. Just ask him. And he was kind of the same way as me, because like he didn't like the idea that she's gonna drive it, but he couldn't, you know, kind of again didn't want to be a party pooper. So we actually had a really fun day. We got this out there, and one moment, like middle of the day, his phone is calling like multiple times. So he picks up, and that's my roommate. So she crashed the car. So what happened is that so passenger front door was like completely smashed, like the mirror,
Oh,
side mirror, it was off, it was gone. The whole the windshield was gone. Like the door, you couldn't even open it because it
that's
was
so stressful. Oh,
it was just like, what the hell happened? And she, like, every time she kept telling the story, every time it was something different. So it was just, and then, and it was like a tan silverish color.
yeah.
And so we had to change the door. So we went to this what is it called, where a lot of cars. And
Yeah, it's the I know it is like the you pull it, yeah, you just like take old parts from dead cars, right? Basically.
exactly, Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went there and we're like, and they tell us that, yeah, we do have this car here. So, and we're like super hyped, and it's like a huge place. And, we run over there to look at it and it's red.
Yes. Okay. So
It's like, bright red.
matches
So
perfectly.
matches perfectly. Exactly. So that, already the fact that I'm driving a minivan like 4 years after a bad PR, now it's a tan minivan with a door. So, but it ended up serving for like 3 summers total. Like I didn't drive it, but we used it to get from Nashville to Turf and back to Nashville every summer. And then I just, like my second summer, I rented out to a girl. And then this, how is it called? The place at the back of the car where the, the stuff.
The trunk?
No. Where like the exhaustion
Yes, the exhaust pipe. Yep.
exhaust pipe.
Is that what you mean?
So that fell off. So
Okay.
what happens? How the car sounds.
Yeah,
when
the muffler. The muffler is also the other name. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it got pretty loud then. I see.
Yes. And so my second summer, I was renting it out to a girl who's not kidding. She's like, 1 meter 50. No idea. It's short.
So she's like 4 feet, 4.5 feet.
Well, I think I'm 5.9 or something. So she was like 150 centimeters. So she's like, I don't know, she's super short.
Yeah, that's barely 4 like almost below 5 or just below 5 feet tall. So
yeah. So she was super short and she's driving this car.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. And then third summer we just left it somewhere and
it's out there, hanging out, rusting away with its red door. Yes.
Yeah. So
that was from your first summer. You like had a minivan that lasted 3 summers. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Not everybody can say that. Most of the time, like I actually went through my first summer, my car, like I finished my checkout. I was in Nashville. I was like 1,500 miles away from home. And so I drove so much that my car just couldn't really make it after I checked out. It was like, I'm done. I'm checking out, and it just blew up. I was literally on the interstate and it blew up. And there was like stuff like smoking from my engine. And then like had to get a new one the next summer. That didn't last until the end of the summer. And then I got back home. And then my third summer, I had to get a totally new car that lasted midway through my 4th summer. And then I got a new car every summer. So that's pretty impressive.
You're not good in the car, are you?
Yeah, well, I've had my current car for like 3-4 years. So
okay. So it's just the book field then. It's the book field.
The book field does some things to your car, so make sure you maintain it, right? Cool. So you were the number 1 first year in that first summer org. Was it pretty obvious that you wanted to like go forward for another summer, or was it like, oh man, I'm never doing that again, and then they like convinced you?
Yeah, it was the second option that I was just it was honestly, it was tough for me, like it was, I grew a lot, and like, it was amazing, like, how I grew as a person, but it took a lot from me emotionally, like it was just rejection as well, like it was really tough, and the homesickness and everything was just like really, really tough for me. But yeah, like I guess after the summer talking to my manager and DSL, I just kind of like, I guess I understood pretty quickly that it's the best thing to do and it's like the logical thing to do. So,
That's what they say. So, you can't argue with that sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess like I was kind of, trying to fight it, but then I was just like, you know what? Okay, let's do it. And I'm glad I did, because gosh, yeah, it's amazing, what Bookfield does to you. So.
Yeah, amazing, incredible, terrifying, horrible. It's really, it's like the full package that makes it so incredible, right? It's the ups and the downs that you then come back up from, right? It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I always told people when I was recruiting back in the day that it's like if you were to take 3 years of a sales career in a different industry and then the book field is like 3 years and 3 months, right? They just squish it all together, and that's why it's so intense. Is the ups and downs are that short lived. One day you could sell 100 units, the next day you could zero out, right? So
Yeah.
when you were going into that second summer, did you like recruit a ton of people? Was that difficult for you, or did you even try? What was your team building like?
So with recruiting, I guess it kind of like I started. Well, okay. So going to my second summer, I did not understand why I have to recruit. Honestly, I was like, I mean, maybe I'm just selfish and stuff, but
You
I was
definitely
just
are.
like,
You need to share the advantage, Sasha. What are you talking about?
yeah. But I was like, I just want to go and sell books. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like I love the quick stuff. I love.
Are you a
I love
millennial or Gen Z? What
exactly. Because like with recruiting, it's like such a long sale, and it's like, and then I just love selling books. Like 20 minutes, done, out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, perfect. You don't have to
I
think
miss it,
ever.
to be honest.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
exactly. Because like I'm not. I'm learning to be more patient, but that's like probably my biggest struggle, to be patient, because I'm like, yeah. So
The hardest part of growing up right there, I tell you what.
yeah, I cannot imagine having kids. It's just like, I mean, it's just like, how do you? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I did some recruiting. Like I approached some friends, but yeah, nobody. Yeah, nothing.
Couldn't convince them, right? Okay. And where did you sell that second summer? You went from South Dakota to where?
So Nick, this is funny. So next 3 summers I sold in Minnesota.
Ah.
So although I've been to US like 4 times to sell plus
Yes.
1 time to GRS, I feel like
Been to
my
3 states. 3 states, right? How many
yeah.
states have you been to?
Well, I've been to Chicago 3 times. So
Okay.
can you,
Illinois.
I
Yes.
mean, well, yeah, so basically South Dakota. I did sell like 2 days in North Dakota,
Okay.
if you can count that. And Minnesota, Illinois, Nashville, and then Florida. So that's it.
Good. Well, if
Yeah.
you come back to Florida, that's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
So yeah, and you can hang out with me and Naomi. It'll be great. So,
Yes, I will one day, for sure.
gotcha. Yeah, they stuck you in Minnesota 3 times. That's crazy.
I
What
love
did
it.
Yeah, Minnesota is really great.
Oh yeah, the best.
Yeah, in the summer there's a lot of mosquitoes, right? Because of all the lakes out there.
But it's same in Latvia. Minnesota feels like Latvia, because we also have actually a bunch of lakes here. Well, we have the sea as well, though they don't have the sea, but
Right.
the whole like, the landscape is like, I feel like home there.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
So what was that second summer like? Was there any like, oh my gosh, this org is falling apart? Was it pretty well put together? How was the culture that second summer?
Yeah. Let me think. Second summer. Second summer was good. I wanted to sell VIP Trip. I sold okay still, but it didn't sell VIP Trip. I grew. We had org. I think nobody actually quit that summer. Yeah, I think nobody quit.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think nobody quit. I'm just thinking what help me out. Ask some more questions. I don't hear you. Why I can't hear you?
Sorry, I mute myself on my microphone sometimes. So yeah, Minnesota, very very cool place. Literally cool. Was it hot that summer at all?
Yeah, like the biggest about Minnesota, I think it's humid. Well, and I can't judge much because I haven't been to other places,
Sure.
but it's just humid. I remember it being humid, and yeah, I was working like that summer. I fell in love with just like countryside. I was just like, oh my goodness, I was just rolling around there, and I lived alone for the first time as well.
You lived alone? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that because there were no other girls in the org?
No, they were, but I just had the privilege at the end of the summer to go and work, and I love it. I mean, I love it. It's so cool because you're just like, you're on your own, and you're just like, it actually feels like a normal job then,
Yeah.
Well, in a sense, because when you live with, because you usually end up living with first years, and I mean, it's great. You can be a great example and all those things, but it's already so much pressure. We work crazy hours,
Right.
13, 14 hours, 6 days, and plus you have to like come home and be the best version of yourself.
All this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
You see
exactly.
people left and
Yeah.
right,
So it was good to just like kind of come home and just like actually breathe,
Yeah.
for those 15 minutes before sleep.
Right.
So yeah, and I met really cool host families that summer. Actually, there was this Southwestern family of companies. There was this what was it called? This food thing, wild something free. I don't
Wild
remember.
Tree, I think is the name.
Wild tree,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know it. Yep.
So 2 wild tree moms hosted me, and that was so cool because they were all in, like same principles,
Yep.
So listen, so it was like so cool. Yeah, it was a fun summer. I started loving selling books. Yeah.
That's awesome. Not everybody gets to say that. Usually it's like too much of a job and they're like, I need to get out of this at some point, right? So we'll talk about your exit here soon. However, I am curious, what was it that helped you fall in love with selling books, especially like your first summer? What was like the major difference from first to second?
I guess biggest thing was that I'm just like, I started not taking myself seriously.
Yeah.
And I was just like so present. Like I always like tried to be like, and I think, well, yeah, being present and how I was trying to do it on the book field. And I still like in everyday life, just like say what you see, say what you feel, say what you think.
Yeah.
And just like, in that way, it becomes like super fun. Like I think like my second summer is when I just started like saying stupid things at the door, or just like I don't remember a second, but like this summer, I think like one of the moments that like perfectly describes it. It was my best day ever in my career, over 300 units.
Wow.
Like sitting down with like a 7th customer that evening, and I'm like, it's been a hot day, so I'm like super tired, obviously, and I'm sitting with that family, and we're filling out the order. They're buying books, and and the mom, I think she was like Jessica Young, and she's like, "Hey Alex, what do I put here and stuff?" And I'm like, "Oh, you do this and that." She's like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "You know what, Jessica? You know what's in my mind right now?" She's like, "What?" And I'm like, just banana, 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 banana. And I just started singing that song, and her daughter joined me, and we're like going, so it's just like, I think my second summer is when I just started doing those things, just like whatever, like,
Wow.
yeah, and that's when it just like became fun.
Yeah, you were talking about how it helped you be present, right? I mean, you just remembered, a second summer customer name. Most people kind of forget about these people,
That was
So,
last summer, but
oh, that was your last summer. Okay, so that was kind of like how. Yeah, that's right. So you were definitely more goofy over time. That's awesome. In that second summer, you said you didn't have any roommates for like the last end of that summer in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
How was the rest of the org for the rest of the summer?
That second summer, I don't know, it was fun. A lot of people were, like following. First it was really like challenging. We had that girl who was what is it, barely 5 feet, right? But her hair is so long till her like butt. She was and she used to do like circus stuff. So she was just something else, like crazy
Please
girl.
tell us about this person. I'm very curious now.
You want me to tell more, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was part of a circus. What was she doing in a circus.
She could like, so she could like, I just saw a picture of it, but she could like bend that her head is on her butt, you
Oh,
know? She could
yeah.
like do crazy tricks on that. And then also she could ride this one-wheeled bike and
Unicycle. Yeah.
yeah, and do this, what is it, I don't
Juggle.
know how to juggle. There you go.
Yes.
So yeah, she was there, and then and then we had Sylvester's, who's like he was something else guy. He was just like, he's this super slow and funny guy, really cool guy.
Yeah.
And then we had David's. His feet always stink really bad. And whenever he was following me, he already knew that he has to take his like perfume with him because it was so stinky. I don't know. Okay. Is this what you asked? Am I answering your
Sure.
question?
This is great. You're giving all the details. Let's go. Were they all Latvians that worked with you then?
Yeah.
Or were there,
Yeah.
okay.
My first 3 summers, I always worked with Latvians. Yeah.
Cool.
So
Very cool.
it was easy back then.
Yeah, you could speak the same language sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Did you wind up working with like Estonians, or because they're right next to Latvia, right?
Yeah. That only happened my 4th summer when I went to UK.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
But then some following and stuff like that. But yeah.
you know what's pretty crazy? I'm going to tell you a story, the only
Okay.
story that I have with a Latvian book person, and it happened after I left Southwestern. So in 2017, I actually was in sales school. Some things happened. I didn't go sell that summer. If you want to hear the full story, check out episode 39 with Maddie Greger, the last 30 minutes to tell it all, right? So
Okay.
that summer, instead of selling books, I actually was doing what I'm doing now, is selling solar door-to-door, solar panels, right? And I was working with Jordan Yurkovich. Shout out Jordan, awesome guy. And he was kind of upset with me that I wasn't selling books that summer, but he was glad that I was working with him. And so we were knocking on doors selling solar. And it's not an internship, right, where you have to do everything in 3 months, right? It's a career where you can take your time, you can take breaks if you want to. And so that day, in the middle of June, in 2017, we were taking a break at Starbucks. And so as we're sitting there, we're like talking about where we're going to go next. And then, Jordan points out to me, hey, that chick has a green book bag right there. And I'm like, oh, whoa, that's a book chick. Oh my gosh, right? And so we realized very quickly, because she has like the blue Southwestern polo. And so we're like, she's totally European. Hey, let's introduce ourselves. We know what you're doing. We know that you're off schedule. We're not mad. We're not here to scold you. We're here to be nice, right? And so we told her that like we both sold 7 summers together, right? Total. And she's like, oh, she's so embarrassed. She's like, oh my gosh, she's like eating snacks, and she's just like trying to like pretend that she's not off schedule at all, right? And so Jordan, it was like, hey, like, what if you're struggling right now? Like, that's totally fine. Nick, he actually has more recent experience with Southwestern. He's going to actually work with you for the next hour to show you how to have fun on the book field, right? And I'm just like, I didn't agree to this, but I'll do it anyway. All right, let's go. And so he drops me, and I totally forget her name. I have no clue what happened after this experience, right? He drops me at a corner house with her, and we go knock on the first door. And funny enough, this mom answers the door. She looks like she's the daughter, like an older daughter of like the people owning the house. And so I'm like, are you the mom of the house? And her husband, boyfriend, I don't know. This is like, he's just like walking out the front door being like, oh, the mom of the house? Not at all. Like, that's the daughter of this place. And so I see a bunch of like younger kids running around, and I'm just like so confused, like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And so the mom of the kids running around lives with her parents, and her boyfriend lives with them too.
Okay.
And so as I'm like trying to get a hold of everything, I'm like trying to show this first year from Latvia, like, who's struggling. She hasn't sold anything in her first 9 days on the book field. She hasn't sold a single book, right? I'm just like, we're okay. All right. Well, let's have some fun. It looks like you are a mom who can make a financial decision on educational products, right? And so I'm like demoing the book, and they're like, oh, as I'm talking to her, I was like, by the way, do you want to grab one of the kids? Okay. Oh, and here's my buying atmosphere. I totally forgot all of my sales talk, right? And so as I'm like, okay, let me put my book down, give you my buying atmosphere. If you want to make a decision, go ahead. And I was trying to say like, yep, I'll deliver the books at the end of the summer type of thing. I was like, nope, never mind. No, they don't deliver books at all. And so I'm like making numbers up on the price of the math books out of nowhere. And so I'm like, so yeah, it looks like you'd use the math, right? And the kid's like, yeah, I'd totally use this. And I'm just like, great. So it's like $300 or whatever the price was. And I was like, exact to the T after tax. And so I'm like, so yeah, you can, you don't deliver this, right? No? Okay. So you can break this into payments, and it'll get shipped to your home, and you'll use it next semester. So how's that sound? And they're like, can we think about it? I'm like, here, you guys talk amongst yourselves. We'll kind of wait out here. And within like a minute, they're like, you know what? Yes, we want this. They got the math books. And yeah, that was my last book customer on the book field, was with a Latvian. And so that was hilarious because she was freaking out. We're like walking away, and you know how they always say, like, when you get a customer, don't freak out, pretend like it's normal, because it should be, right? And I'm like, stop freaking out. Like, it's okay. This is normal. This is good. And I'm like freaking out my own, because I'm just like, first door, I got, 18 units or whatever.
That's so cool.
And this Latvian girl is just like, how did you do that? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. And I'm just like, look, if you realize that people are people, they all have the same types of fears, concerns, they have friends, and things that embarrass them. There's all these things that just don't really make you that different from them. So if you focus on connecting on those things that make you similar, it'll probably help things out a little bit, right? And we went on to knock, and it was just like, I had knocked 4 summers before that, and it was the harshest turf I had ever knocked in, right? Really terrible rejection, 110-degree weather in California.
Where were you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was inland from San Diego, so it was like 40 minutes in from the coast, so it was not cool at all. And yeah, it was just like, well, at least I showed you how to have a customer. We'll take you home. Where are you living? And we take her to her HQ, and I have no clue what happened after that. I don't know if she finished the summer or if, she went home soon after that, but that was an unforgettable memory.
I wonder, I'm curious. I should try to find out, because that was my first summer. So I'm just thinking who was it?
Right.
Because there's not too many, there's like about over 100 Latvians selling each summer, so it wouldn't be too hard to figure out who it was. So
sure. Well, more on that later. We'll do some digging. I'm excited to figure that out, because I still have no clue what happened after that.
Yeah.
But
that's cool.
Yeah, fun times. So there's my one Latvia story. Do you have any stories from people from Nebraska by chance?
From Nebraska?
Yeah, from Nebraska.
Gosh, I should have, I told you that I was kind of looking through pictures before, but I don't not. I don't know. I just I remember that my second summer, maybe like a fun story was that yeah, it's a funny story. So it was Friday night. You know what happens on Friday night. Everybody's
always
chilling and hanging out. And so I walked to this house, and it was like a crazy small town, maybe like 500 people, like 100, maybe 1,000 or something. So I walk up to this house, and there's like a pickup truck where it's like a grandma and grandpa kind of a deal. And then there's a mom feeding a baby, and then a dad grilling. So that's like kind of the scenario. Yeah. So I'm kind of not sure what's happening, and I'm just walking to hey, you must be the mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, and and they're they just start joking that yeah, this is grandma. It turned out they're just neighbors or whatever.
Okay.
And they were just all having some beers and stuff, and then kind of dad is kind of what do you have there? He's and I understand that he's kind of the boss here, so I kind of go approach him, and he's like, well, okay, you can show me. And then we kind of sit down, I start telling that I'm from Europe, and he's like, oh, no way, and it's all fun. And then it's a demo time, and
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, but whatever, some Ben, he was a chef, he was like a huge guy, really cool guy. And I'm like, Ben, do you know what flamingos no, like, what's the shoot,
Why
I
are they
forgot.
pink? Yeah.
Do you know what flamingos are pink? And he's like, no, I don't. But Alex, do you know what turtles say when they make babies? He's just like, and I'm like totally off guard, because I'm like, I am the one asking questions here.
Right, right. And he flipped the script on you.
So, and he started like pulling up some YouTube videos, and it just got funnier and funnier every minute. And then, and I'm trying to sell, obviously. I'm trying to make a sale, because it's like Friday, I had I think it was like some dedication week or something as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And, and I'm like, hey, Ben, well, let's make a decision. And then, so basically he ended up getting like my set and Explore and Learns. And I gave him like a huge discount, but he fed me steak, which was crazy good because he was a chef. And then I got ice cream and cookies and Gatorade and whatever. So it was just, yeah, that was a really funny sit down.
Unforgettable second summer memories.
No,
I love
it.
So how did you do from that first summer to that second summer? Was it like an easy growth summer? Was it pretty? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, cause first summer, well, you were telling about that girl, like my first summer, like I think my first 7, maybe 9 days were 0 days. Yeah. Honestly, like it was, I had a bunch of 0 days my first summer. So, and I sold like 1,300. So my second summer I sold 3,300. So it was like, I just like did, half less 0 days, and pretty much that's the growth there, huh?
Definitely sells. When you sell a lot more because you're not hitting those 0 days, it solves all those problems, right?
Exactly.
That's what we kind of like went to America to go do. Okay, I see it. Figured some stuff out, and it was taking yourself less seriously that helped you do that. And you didn't really recruit anybody that second summer. What was it like? Because when you go from 1,300 to 3,300, like that's okay, I'm a little hot stuff right now. I can figure it, another summer out. I can do some good things, grow even more. Did you wind up recruiting at that point, or was it still like, I don't really want to recruit people?
Yeah. So after my second summer, I did recruit. I still like, I must be honest here. I wasn't like super consistent, and I was like, and since I didn't have an experience, I was just kind of like slower at it. Like I think I was like really good at attracting people, but not like keeping them, or like just kind of like whatever. Yeah. So that summer I ended up getting. So yeah, I recruited a girl through Zoom. So basically we were already then, before COVID, and she was married, but she ended up coming to sell books with me.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was funky. But
and that's all you had that third summer was one first year.
I'm not the recruiter. I'll be honest with you.
Hey, that's okay. I recruited no people my second summer. I recruited 2 people my third summer, and then I recruited 2 people my fourth summer. And I sent one of them home because she didn't tell anything. So that's okay. What was it? Did she wind up being your roommate? And you were in Minnesota again, right?
Yeah, we were in Minnesota again. What's good about if you sell in the same place? It's so easy to find host families. It's so easy, you gotta like just message a few people, and you already have like a couple of options in the area. You can pretty much pick and choose which house you like the best. So
there you
go. We did live together at first, but our characters, like she's very different. Like, I'm really outgoing and stuff. So she's like a typical Latvian, really like, to herself and stuff like that. So we lived together for a first month, but then, we just ended up switching up because, and then it kind of worked better. But she had a good summer, and definitely challenging for her as well. But like she's now like running her own business and all the things, and yeah, I think it's really like helped her in many ways. So that was cool to see, how it's like,
Always.
ooh, impact. Oh
Yeah.
wow, this is what
Legacy.
they've been talking about. Okay. So this is what
Yeah.
the paying forward, okay.
Yeah.
So
Definitely one of the best feelings out there. Nothing else quite like it.
yeah.
So that being back in Minnesota, were you in the same turf or like a different part of the state?
No,
Yeah.
I was, so my second summer I was kind of like southwest part,
Yeah.
and then my third summer I was like in the very north. I was working at the end of the summer right next to Canada, like
Wow.
up there, just like the craziest countryside ever. It's
Yeah.
just like I loved it. Everybody knew everyone, like and that. So yeah, this was my second host family. So we were staying in the Steve River Falls, and we needed a host family. And I knock on the door. Mom comes. She ends up buying books. Really cool mom. We actually she recently messaged me. We're still kind of like keeping in touch. And when COVID hit, we were doing this online sales. So
Yeah.
she ended up getting more books then as well. So she's like just like this one of the ponies, right?
Perfect.
And
Perfect one.
so she buys the books, the whole set, and then I ask her about the hosting, and she's like, well, we can't, we have kids, and she had like special needs kid and stuff, and she was like, but you have to go like across the street, because she's like works in university, so she might hook you up with somebody. So obviously I go there, knock on the door. Like an older man opens up, and I kind of I start just like a regular approach. I'm not gonna like, hey,
Right.
host me. I start the regular approach, and he's like, oh well, we don't have kids. And from the inside, the lady's screaming, is this so Western? And I'm like, yeah, it is. And she like comes running. So she's Virgie.
Yes.
What's their Stanford?
Virgie Sanford.
So I was staying with her aunt. Imagine how cool is that?
Wow.
Yeah, so she ended up hosting us. It was really, really fun and cool. Because yeah, then actually I met Virgie, well, after that in GRS, like after that summer. So I knew her, and I've listened to some audios, like not really knowing who, knowing who she is. So like, yeah, it was really cool.
That's awesome. You stayed with Virgie's aunt, whatever you want to call it, right? And it was wow. So she never sold books, right? But she knew everything of what you were doing. She was able to help you get set up. Did you have like one or two roommates, a whole bunch of roommates?
Yeah. So when we lived with her, I just had one roommate, a really cool girl. We're good friends. She actually cut my hair right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Looking fresh. That's a good haircut right there.
Yeah, for sure. So that's actually, I think, my third summer is when I really fell in love with having a roommate, I think, because it was just, it can be really challenging because you're out there with people all day long, and you come home, all you want is just like peace. And but yeah, with Raina, her name's Raina, that was like that was the most fun like I've ever had with a roommate.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Part of that impact, right?
Yes, again. Third summer, getting there.
Speaking of impact and things like significance, is that an American dollar bill on your back wall?
Yes.
I want to learn this story, because is that like your first American dollar or something?
So these are
$2 bill.
$2. So
wow.
Story. My second sizzler, we were in Egypt, and in Egypt they use dollars, and I was buying some souvenirs or whatever, and he gives me back the change, and he gives me 4 $2 bills. And I'm like,
rare. Okay.
It's like, what the hell, And he didn't.
It's like more $2 bills than I've ever held in my entire life. Right?
Exactly. And I'm like, hey man, like, are you sure about this? And he didn't understand what's the fuss about. He was like, yeah, I don't care. I was like, all right, I'm taking it. So
Nice.
yeah, and I think because I remembered that I got 4, but I only have 1 left, so I think I just kind of
Just like, let's keep that.
Sizzler and just sharing and whatever.
Good memory
Um,
right there.
yeah.
Was Sizzler? So you had Sizzler on some islands off the coast of Africa. Where else did you have Sizzler? Being from Europe.
So we usually, well, it's either the Spain Canary Islands or
Yeah.
Egypt.
Okay.
So my first one was in Canarias, second, like third, second and third in Egypt, and
Yeah.
then fourth and fourth and fifth in Spain again. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's where they had GRG for top recruiters and all that a few years ago. And I always wanted to go. Is it?
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of the Azores, which are a little bit different. But the Canary Islands. What was your experience going to there? I've never heard of it other than kind
Yeah.
of a little bit here and there. But
It's really cool because it's like the whole, like a whole small world, because it's like
yeah,
you can get from one side, I think it's like you can get from one side to another for in like an hour, if so basically maybe 2, but yeah, like and it's really really cool because you're just there, and it's like, and especially over we're like southwestern people, so it's like imagine to this small island 200 people arriving,
wow,
like
yeah,
the whole island just like kind of, and
come
we're
to life.
partying there for
Yes.
yeah. So definitely I think like they really feel it when we come over, that there's like, yeah, like
Talk about a
running up.
party.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
So speaking of parties, real quick, just want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Martine and Lucas. So I don't know if you know Martine Cal. He's still in the business with Lucas Biscup. They're awesome. So um, the best types of parties to throw are the unforgettable parties, right? And so the whole thing about DJs, disc jockeys, is that sometimes they play good stuff. Most of the time, you're paying people to pay some like mediocre music. And so these guys, they've got countless playlists, country, EDM, rock, 90s, 2000s. They even have Baroque music, right? So some of that, no, I'm just kidding. But salsa, whatever it is you're looking for. These guys have a really high music IQ. They're great at doing what they do. And the biggest thing about them is that they're both reliable and affordable. Book people, they understand how to keep expenses low, and they also know how to show up with integrity and make sure you're having an awesome party. So if you're throwing a wedding, some sort of event, awards banquet, and you want to have some live music, forget the bands. We got DJs in the house. Let's get Martine and Lucas connected with you, and you'll have an awesome party. So beyond that, we've got Southwestern Real Estate. We love working with Patrick Roach. Back 15 years ago, Pat Roach was like, man, there's like all these people in real estate that kind of just fall out of real estate because they don't have good structure. In fact, 95% of all agents stay with Southwestern, whereas the opposite is true with the rest of the industry. Most of the time, like 95% of people who get a real estate license quit. I don't know if you knew that, Sasha, but it's not very good, And so what Pat did is he took all the healthy aspects of Southwestern's culture and basically took really high producing, really awesome, reliable people and trained them how to be experts in the real estate industry. And so my old roommate Meredith, my old sales leader Grant Greeter, they're currently working with Southwestern Real Estate. And so what they do is they're like, hey, make a connection with everybody that they're close to, and they are the standout. If you have questions about real estate, come to me. They're the experts. And so all they do is just make friends with people, and then over time they get tons of business by just being that good contact for them. So if you're looking for a new career, by all means, Southwestern Real Estate is a really good one to have. I'm working with Pat and some other rock stars over there. So if you want to get in touch with them, we'll put you in touch. And then also, if you're looking to, again, for real, join these guys at Cardinal Senior Benefits, they're doing some really, really cool things. So over the past few weeks, they've had really top producing agents. John Marks selling over 22,000 in commissions. Nathan Albert's over 15,000. Michael K, 14,000. All these people are putting in 25, 35, at most 40 hours in a week, right? That's pretty dang good. So Greta Huerta, shout out to her. She's had $10,000 in earned commissions for the last 3 weeks. So she's like, if you were to do that every single week, that's a really, really good income. That's $500,000. I can't even, really reach the level of awesomeness that these people are doing just by talking about it here on this podcast. So if you want to get in touch with them, of course, again, that $500 referral bonus is yours if you bring anybody to their business through us, whether it's you, someone you know. They're looking for people who have solid Southwestern and sales experience, and we know for a fact that they can put them up right. So if you want to get in touch with them, let us do that for you. And then last shout out, of course, goes to Dylan Barr over at Thought Leader. So Dylan Barr is a 5-summer bookman. He's hilarious. So Dylan, he was working with Self-Publishing School, helps you publish a book. Great stuff. Send your message out there, right? What he's doing now is even cooler, in my opinion, is they help you land a TED Talk. So instead of writing a book, which can take a long time, what you can do now is actually help other people land an opportunity to share their passions. And so they're looking for 2, maybe 3 book people, alumni from the network who are looking to make 6 figures or above, actually helping people do just that. And so they exclusively partnered with us, so that way they don't spend any money on marketing. They're doing really well as a business, Thought Leader, but they wanted us to put Dylan in touch with the alumni community because there's like a really, really cool opportunity of just making money, helping people talk about their passions, right? So if you want to get in touch with Dylan, there's his email, db@thoughtleader.com. And that's all I have to say about that. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So, all right. We love our sponsors. If you would like to be one of ours, get in touch with us. We'll get you set up. But yeah, Sasha, that 3rd summer in Minnesota, it was kind of like, all right, we're doing a little bit better. You enjoyed your roommate over there. Did you also grow that 3rd summer from your 2nd?
Yes, 5,300.
Hey, 2,000 unit growth.
Yes.
That must have been a fun first 3 summers. Yeah. And you were probably like, I'm going to recruit all the people and change more lives. And then there was like this whole big nope from COVID that was like, no, you can't go to America. You can't do what you thought you were going to do. What was that like? What was it like hearing about COVID for the first time, expecting yourself to be in America that summer?
Yeah, that was a hit. That was like, big like punch. Because I was like, with recruiting, it was going really well that year. I had some good people, and I sold so well. I felt like I was on fire. Yeah. I was getting ready for my 10,000 unit summer. I think was my goal. Right? Obviously, duh. So when COVID hit, it was like it was really tough, and like working from home because I don't remember how it was in US, but like in Latvia we had crazy lockdowns. Just like, you couldn't do anything, couldn't go anywhere. It was just, but the toughest thing was that I made a commitment that I'm going to recruit and that I'm going to do my X amount of calls every week. But it was so tough. I remember I was crying every day before doing those. I don't know, I'm very emotional. I get shit done, but it's like it's just I have high highs and I have low lows. So that's it's that's why I love it. It's fun,
I can relate.
Yeah, you never know how it's gonna be, so it's fun. But it was really it was crazy. I ended up recruiting, I ended up with all the COVID, I don't wanna. Well, but it is an excuse though. But
that was a worldwide excuse.
Yeah,
so no shame in that.
So I ended up having kind of starting the summer because we had a 2-phase summer then, 2 people. First phase was that was the first year when I was gonna be an OL when
Yeah.
it's the COVID,
Oh yeah.
So, oh heck yeah. So like the first phase of the summer was, I think, like the whole, like 3 weeks of June. I think we did it. We did like home country sales. So we did this like charity through the phone. So we were just calling everybody we knew and getting referrals
Yeah.
and all those things. And I had org. I'm just trying to think. I think only like Latvians, like most, like my base. I think people were just like and it was a lot of like online and everybody working from home and kind of doing that. So like I had to come up with the but we still like had like an org name and we did all the legit things as
Of
for the
course.
summer.
Nice.
And then at one point, like I think it was around, like I think it was like this, that on 20th of June they were like, okay, so US is not gonna happen, we're gonna go to UK or stay in Latvia, what do you want to do? And then basically pretty much like make up your mind in next 2 days. And so like people kind of like some stay, some go. I decided to go to UK. Literally like completely new group. We
Oh
were like
no.
three
Okay.
Latvians. So 3 Latvians, no, 4 Latvians, and
And
8
everyone.
Estonians.
Oh my gosh. Did like everyone from Latvia just stay home that summer or?
Well, it's just like our group. It was like this, that we had like in my base in WOLFPACK we had like 2 orgs. So like for the first phase of the summer for the home country sales, basically the ones who I had then, only like 3 of us decided to go. The
Yeah.
rest stayed. So they gave me a bunch of Estonians, and most of the people like were hello, I met them,
For the very
just
first time, right?
so basically so it was like this, that we flew to UK and we had to be quarantined for I think 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's when I like which was great, I mean, in that case, because like I had to like get to know people who I'm gonna be working with,
Right.
obviously. And I mean, the quarantine, that was actually super fun, because we were playing like this mafia game.
Oh yeah. I know it.
So, like every night we were playing it. We were doing like we had like an online sales school and all kinds of different things. We had
Mhm.
like a schedule and all that, but every night we were playing mafia. And it was just it was so. I remember, I'm not analytic and all the analytical things and all those, like that's my weak point.
Sure. Sure.
So, and and if we were to go to US, I've kind of done that and I understood what's up there, but going to UK,
Different.
it was like I didn't even understand, and it was so frustrating that I'm like asking to my DSL Timo like hundreds of questions, and he's like no freaking clue, like
Yeah. Figure it
because
out.
we're just like finding a way as we were going. It's like as they say, this duck,
Yep.
so this was like it was it was fun. And
Were you the actual OL for everybody in the UK, or did you have a co-OL or?
well, I had managers, but no, I was the only OL.
Oh my
We
gosh.
didn't have the co-OLing, or like
Leading the charge.
so. And basically what's funny, Nick, is that so we had 3 guys and 9 girls.
Mm.
And so my I
Different
had
from the
like,
last few summers for you.
yeah. So what did you say?
It was different from the last few summers before, where it was
Yeah,
mostly guys. Now you have more girls than guys
yeah,
and
exactly.
all that. Yeah.
And basically it was like this, that I had 2 B managers, and one like 3 summer and one 4 summer manager. And so what ended up happening is that 3 guys that we had, they quit. So it was 9 girls. So it was me and 2 B managers and first years. And we're in fucking UK, where you're like, what the hell is
Wow.
happening? It was and we were in the north part, and like I'm not kidding. I I wore shorts maybe once.
Yeah.
It was so cold. Like every day, like I had like 2 pants, I had like a shirt, jacket, another jacket, another, like, and it was raining, I think every day. I don't know. It
Yeah.
was just, it was, yeah. Like kind of like I think my first summer, was the toughest because, I wasn't ready for it. Well, I think my fourth summer was actually like the toughest, but I was kind of better already, obviously after 3 summers, so I kind of handled it pretty well because so much happened. I mean, like we start working, and at one point, like, so I had like 2 counties over there, and we had the plan to work in that county for pretty much the whole summer. And like in the first few days, police tells us that you cannot work here, just because. I don't even remember what their excuse was.
They just didn't like you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were 3 pretty girls, though. I don't know what,
Rude.
whatever. Yeah, that happened. Then I ended up buying a car, but I couldn't get insurance, and like it was just like so much happening. Like it was crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, I was talking with one of our sponsors, Oscar. Don't worry, I'm not going to do an ad here. But Oscar, he being from Estonia, you worked with him over there in the UK. Because I remember hearing from him, and he shared some pictures of like he took the transit, like the public transit, to work every single day. Nobody really had a car, at least in his HQ, because everyone just took the the subway or the L train or whatever they call it over there. What was the like layout like with you? Because was he in London and you were just like in Manchester, I think you said, or what was the transport like?
Well, basically he was in Manchester area, and I was kind of like on the north part of him, more like in again the countryside area, like smaller cities and
That
stuff.
must have been so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, yeah, we took like bus to work. We were trying, and and we did have bicycles, but sometimes we couldn't bring them in, and it was just like, I feel like we moved so many times because of all that. It was just, honestly, Nick, it was it was crazy. But yeah, most girls were taking either like train or whatever to get to work, or by bike. Yeah, I guess we tried to do that, but it happened that they had to take like a public transport to work.
Was that pretty easy or pretty difficult?
Well, I mean, like for us, we're used to, like, that's what I said. I don't have a car because we're taking public transport all the time. So, I mean, we were used to it, but, it's much nicer to have a car. So
go where you want to go whenever you want to get there, right?
Yeah. And, and having a car for the 3 summers. And then, I started by biking, and it was just like, oh my God, this is not happening.
It's a good workout, I hear.
I guess.
Definitely a very hard workout for sure, especially when it's raining all the time, like in the UK. So, how many weeks did you sell out there? Was it like a really eventful summer, profitable summer, or was it like totally not at all?
No, this was the, first you learn, then you earn. So this was the learning, the growing, the becoming the better version of myself, training patience.
Because every summer you were earning, but now you had to really learn. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think we sold for 8 or 9 weeks. So it was like a shorter summer too, because we started with the whole quarantine and everything. I think we started like beginning of July. I think like 9th of July was when I first, my first working day. So so it was a shorter summer. Some people stayed longer, but we had school, so we kind of like we went back to study.
Yeah. Here's a question. What did you study, or are you still studying in university?
So I'm studying like culture, sociology, and management. I was supposed to graduate last year, but this is what all Europeans do. We kind of like postpone our thesis just because you have to be a student in order to
Get the
come and
visa,
stuff.
right?
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
So that was my plan to like not graduate because it's like, it's easier that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I was planning to come and go and sell again, but I'm not doing that.
What happened there? Well, do we want to skip this last summer, or do we want to talk about your last summer in Minnesota?
No, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, like coming like that, like the whole like 2020.
Yeah.
Like was like probably like the toughest year for me ever. Or like since COVID started, and like that's it's been really tough, like 2 years for me. But it's good. I've been like growing a lot, and like good life lessons that like I guess I was just like my value system or whatever, just like the whole thing was kind of like a little messy, so I'm trying to get it right now. It's like this, I don't know, quarter of the century crisis. I feel like all my friends are going through it right now. I don't know. I don't
know. To be 25 again. I know exactly what you're talking about. We've all been there. Well, those of us 25, but yeah.
Yeah, like it's literally all my girlfriends, like same thing, like just like a lot of figuring out. So after UK summer, yeah, it was really because like selling 5,000 and then going down there. It was rough. And like again with like believe you just like, you're like in recruiting again, like you're calling people and saying let's go to US, and they're like it's COVID, what are the chances? And actually, well, yeah, but on the other hand, like I really loved OLing and being OL, because like we had like when the boys quit, it got so fun because we were just like who ran the world, girls, and we had
there
like
you go, Beyonce right there.
like girls org, and like I still keep in touch with them, and one of them is like a really good friend of mine who I like still every time I go to Estonia we meet up, and we lived together in Sizzler this year, so they're like super, like I love them so much, and it was so fun. So like that year is like finally, and I was like, okay, let's recruit Sasha, like you gotta get it done, like let's freaking do it. And I did recruit and actually did like again, but most of them went cold. And with COVID, since we didn't get to go to US, it was just like. And then my B manager, she kind of like she changed her plans last moment, and I kind of like, and my own manager, I knew that it's gonna be his last summer, so our base was kind of like, it was like basically either I'm alone and going for it, or nobody, I was alone, So it was just like
the WOLFPACK. What did you name?
WOLFPACK,
the WOLFPACK, and then he became the lone wolf.
Yeah, Oof. Exactly. Yeah, they like in Estonia they're still WOLFPACK and they're a great group. But yeah, in Latvia, it's dead right now.
Yikes! Oof.
Yeah, it's sad, but yeah, I think we still keep up the legacy. We're pretty cool. Anyways, so oh my gosh, I feel like I just said so much, but I don't remember what was I talking about.
We're just talking about it all, right? I mean, with the WOLFPACK thing, all good things must come to an end. But the cool thing is they get to live in a story form here on Ponytails.
Yeah.
So you were alone recruiting that last summer, this 2021 summer, and did you like? You said you recruited a few people, and they're like, COVID's making it difficult, so not every person that you recruited made it. Did you bring anybody out there with you to Minnesota for this last summer?
So Nick, this is the thing that like at the beginning of the summer, I had like 2 first years who are ready to go, but then we couldn't go to US again. And then, well, so I was getting ready to go to UK again and to be OL there. Last minute, my it was it was literally again like, I don't know, 28th of May, my DSL calls me, "Hey, you want to go to US?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, I miss it. Of course I want to go." And he's like, "Okay, well, there's this thing that might work. You have to go to Mexico, try to get the."
Oh no, Sasha, you've cut out. Okay, so Minnesota by way of Mexico. This will be interesting to hear about. As we wait for Sasha to reconnect here, the last bits of shout outs to our awesome sponsors. We've got B Designly. Oscar and Oliver are some of our favorites from Estonia. So, Oscar and Oliver, they are web design, web developers. So, if you are in need of a brand new spanking website, these guys are who you should go to. So, a full website as put together by an American. Here stateside, they charge anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 just for a whole new website. So it looks like we lost Sasha. Oh no! Hopefully she can get back on here in a second. But again, we will kill some time here. But with Oscar and Oliver, they are putting together our website for the Ponytails podcast, which will be here very, very soon. They are the type of people who like hold themselves to such a high standard that they refuse to publish anything unless it's like to the T exactly what it needs to be. And so if you want a high standard website, better quality than any American website, these guys charge at less than half the price. And you can pay all up front. You can pay monthly like we're doing. But they have the expertise in integration that like you could make your own website on your own for real cheap. But how's it going to work with your CRM? How's it going to work with any other parts of your business that you're trying to promote and put forward? That's where these guys come in. So we'll get you in touch with Oscar and Oliver should you want to use their services. The other sponsor that we've got in the house, of course, is my personal favorite, Enlight Energy. I've been working with them for a little over a year now. And the really cool thing about Enlight is that anywhere the sun shines, anywhere you can generate some electricity from some sunlight is where we operate. So what we're trying to do is to solar with Enlight is what Southwestern is doing with real estate. So if instead of hearing about all these people who flood this solar industry and not everybody makes it, what we're looking for is people with a passion for the planet. People who have good sales acumen. Obviously, it is normal to have to sell somebody an additional cost on what they're doing. But with us, you're actually saving people money. So Sasha is really excited to hear about this, aren't you? Welcome back, Sasha. Not sure if you can hear me just yet, but yep, we're almost done with our sponsors here. Enlight is awesome. If you want to get selling solar panels, you can get in touch with me through the podcast. I'm helping us put together some stuff with all of our systems and everything there. So the last shout out belongs to our really awesome sponsors at Cardinal Senior Benefits. So last things to say about them, they've got 29 former Southwestern alum with over 140 years of book selling experience between all of them, putting together some really awesome numbers out there. And so again, they are out to double their production in year 4. So Quentin, he's awesome. The really good thing that he's been able to do, Quentin is kind of like the sales manager for a really big part of the company where at Cardinal, you're able to actually schedule around your life, your lifestyle, and your goals instead of just like beating your head against a brick wall, just working all the time. You can make a really good living with nice work-life balance. So if you want to impact clients in a meaningful way, earn a 6-figure income, we'll get you in touch with Quentin, get you that $500 referral bonus. And for those that refer people, you could also win a chance to BIZZLER for free. So speaking of which, are you going to be coming to BIZZLER, Sasha? You know about it at this point, right?
Yeah, obviously, I know. I don't know. Like, I guess. Well, doesn't I think the sign up ended already? No.
So
They're
we're
so cool.
actually like having a surprise extended sign up where we've got initially we were signing people up with oh gosh, I forgot the name of the company. Josh Martinez, great guy. Their logistics had it so they had to book people, a few months in advance. But we're now taking orders to go to BIZZLER for the rest of the summer. So Maddie Whalen, shout out to her. Not a sponsor, but she works with Southwestern Travel and is helping put together excursions for BIZZLER and helping people actually sign up as well. So if you want to talk to Maddie, do you know Maddie, Sasha?
No,
If not, that's
I
okay.
don't. Not.
So she's like one of Naomi's best friends, and I know her from when I lived in Colorado. Awesome, like 5, maybe 6 summer book chick, if I remember right. But she is crushing it with Southwestern Travel and very eager to help you get to Mexico. So if you want to come hang out for BIZZLER, we've got plenty of awesome people coming, plenty of good times to be had. So let's get you in touch with Maddie to reserve your spot. So Sasha, I will see you in Mexico. That's just me being effective, but whatever happens.
I'll definitely see you next year in
In
Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
I mean, that's too cool.
no pressure, buying atmosphere, all that good stuff. But yeah, you were remind me where you cut off there. I hope is everything else
I have you
fine?
on full screen. Yeah, I have you on full screen. I guess like the notification didn't pop up, so sorry about that.
All good.
Okay, yeah. So I've been to Mexico, right? Because
Yes.
so basically
Quarantined
what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we went to Mexico just like for 2 weeks. Fingers crossed that we're gonna get visas. Worst case scenario, fly back to Latvia. Yeah, it was like, last moment and stuff like that. And I guess, at that point I was kind of like, because I had the choice, like either to go, and BOL in UK or go to US. But at that point, I'll tell you honestly, Nick, I was really done with impact and stuff because I felt like I've been like putting work into it. And it's just like, it's been really challenging. And I felt like, I mean, it's great, but also, like, it's with any relationships, it's really good, but it also hurts sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I felt like, you know what, let's just go and have like summer to myself and stuff. Yeah. So basically, we went to Mexico. That was super fun. We had like,
nice,
because it was all the people were experienced people. So,
right.
like 2+ summers. So there wasn't any first year. So our sales school was in Mexico on this big villa by the pool,
Wow.
and like with like fruits and all those
like
things. And we're kind of like, yeah, exactly. We have like, we have a video where like it's a bunch of girls on a boat with swimsuits, like Sales School 2021. It's just like, it was amazing because like we were like 50, I think around 15 people over there from like different bases, Latvia and Estonia. I think nobody from Lithuania. Yeah, so that was really fun. And like we made a commitment that like, we weren't an org, we were going to different parts of US, but we still had like our OL and we still did the, crossing the line. And then we were like, that we got to sell VIP trip, because after UK summer, it was easy peasy to sell VIP trip, honestly, because after selling nothing, it's easy.
When you hit a certain growth amount, then you hit it. I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and most of those people, I think at least half were on VIP trip, if not more. So that was really cool. We ended up getting our visas, going to the summer.
Heck yeah.
It was cool. Yeah, we stayed. Actually, on one of the podcasts, I wanted to say this, that you were looking for some host families or something to talk about. No, did I misunderstood something?
There's
I thought
all this stuff that we're looking for. So yeah, we would love to interview some host parents by all means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because there was this, I think I heard on one of the podcasts, and I thought that I should definitely tell you about this host family because they're amazing.
Okay.
They have been hosting for like 17 years, different book kids in Minnesota.
Wow.
Lori, she's hilarious. She's the best. I registered her on Instagram. She's on Instagram now, commenting every picture of mine. My own grandma and Lori is commenting all of the pictures.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
so yeah, she's amazing. She's so cool. What was I talking about? Okay, my summer. So yeah, so basically, again, like in Minnesota, in the whole state, there were 4 of us. So me and my manager got this, and then on the other side, 2 Lithuanians. So basically, again, I lived the whole summer. I lived alone. I was just like, it was great. It was cool in that sense. It felt like, it was so. It's like on Sunday, I actually had the day off.
Nice.
Because
You're like describing
usually,
something that any manager would be utterly jealous of right now, because
yeah.
you're running meetings, getting people supplies, taking, hey, pay for the hotel, whatever. It's stressful to be manager, and you were in your 5th summer working alone. You wanted it to be your own summer, and that's exactly what it was. So was it
Yeah.
another growth summer there for you then? Pretty easy to hit VIP trip, right?
Well, after UK,
After UK.
obviously.
Yeah.
I sold 6 and something. I don't know. So I
Nice.
grew a little. But it was, technically it was because again we sold for 10 or 9 weeks. I think it was a
Yeah.
little shorter. We
So you were
got
averaging
there.
like PC. Way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a fun summer.
So,
That's awesome.
oh yeah. Yeah, it was all again, like, like it was challenging still, like, cuz like I was, like my third summer I think was like the highest peak for me, in a sense that, like, I remember at the end of the summer was when I was calling my manager and just saying that, like, got this, I could do this forever. I
Yeah.
really felt like, like this monk who's like, or like these people, who go into mountains and live for a year or so. I felt like, what? I don't need anything. I don't need family or like friends or whomever. Don't care. I just need me and the book field, Minnesota,
Wow.
obviously. And I can just like do this forever. And I like Nick, like I so strongly and just like 100, like I felt it so like I was all in there.
Yeah.
Um so and like then UK came, which kind of like, it
Brought you
kind
down a
of,
little bit.
yeah, it kind of like broke some, I don't know how to say, but like, like some expectations, some dreams, or whatever, all the
Yeah.
rainbows and
It's
unicorns
the
and
opposite of
hunt
breaking
and
belief barriers. It was the unfortunate reforming of some belief barriers. Like, is this ever gonna work again? Right? Yeah.
yeah,
That's terrible.
exactly. So, and going for that 5th summer, since, the whole year I wasn't sure what's going to happen. Am I going to go to UK, or is it going to be US, or whatever's going to happen?
Right.
And, last moment finding out that I'm going to go, it was kind of like I went to the summer with pretty much my last year's goals,
Mm.
which, I was a completely different person then, because it was like before COVID, before UK, before everything.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it was just like, it was challenging, in that sense, that because I kind of felt like it really, like, at the middle of the summer, I think I started to feel that, I got the vibe that it might be my last summer, because I felt like I've like kind of outgrown it in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, my SM and DSL, they were saying, like, don't make any decisions because summer emotions. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. But I still kind of like felt it, that it was just, yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
And here we are now. You're just like, yeah, we don't know much, but we know that we're not selling books this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
how did they take that news? Like, when did you actually decide that you were done selling books?
I think it was short, like beginning of this year. like shortly before Sizzler, I messaged my DSL that like, hey, we need to talk. That's because, I guess like it's, because I just know I can go and sell so much and like,
Yeah.
earn a lot of money,
Oh yeah.
And especially like, here in Latvia, like
That's a lot of money. Oh yeah.
my mom earns that probably in like 3-4 years, maybe. I don't know. It's, like it's a lot of money. It's like
Yeah.
crazy. Like you can literally like with that money, you can live for more than a year, just like,
That's life changing. Yeah.
yeah. So it was really like uncomfortable, because like to make that decision to like, okay, and, to move on. And because I felt like, at that point, it was kind of like almost like an easy way out to go and sell books again. Honestly,
That's your
although it's
comfort
like,
zone.
exactly, because like, if you think about my first summer, like, hated the job or like, crying a lot and like not selling anything for 9 days, whereas now it's like, oh, it's book selling is too much of a comfort.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh yeah.
it's weird. But yeah, I guess I made that decision just because I guess I felt like I had to move on. I mean, like I love Southwestern, and I would, I mean, for me to get where I am right now as a person, as a human being, I don't know, it would have taken me twice as long as, if not even longer, to
Oh yeah.
get here, for sure. But at the same time, it's like a lot of, I think like the hardest thing for me was just comparison, because there's like, superstars book emails every
Oh yeah.
night, and
Setter,
that,
all that.
yeah, and it just kind of like, that's what brought me down so much, like, and that's why it's like it was, the fall was so as it was, just because I was just like, yeah.
Just comparing yourself a little bit. Maybe I could stay around, do more of this, more of that.
Yeah,
All my friends are doing these things, and they
yeah,
say that comparison, Sasha, is the thief of joy, right?
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So
And when you realize that your comparison is actively robbing your joy, it's important to draw lines and make, take a stand for yourself, make barriers, and take time to yourself. So now that you have all this money from successful book selling, I know that you definitely aren't like in need of a job tomorrow, right?
well, it's running out though, so
So if anybody wants to hire this top producing book chat, Sasha is looking for some work. What
there's
does that
actually
process look like for you?
there's a lot of offers coming though. It's
Good.
like, well, no, I mean, I don't want to brag, but like, yeah, like people are approaching, so that's good. But it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah.
So you're just kind of like, okay, we'll kind of like build up a list of people, and then I'll get back to them in a few months. What is your actual job pursuit looking like now?
So, well, basically, yeah, right now, today I met up with Southwestern alumni, and looks like I'm
Yeah.
gonna start doing a sales job.
Oh
First, I was
no,
like,
not
so
again.
people were telling me, approaching, was like, no sales, I'm never gonna do sales again.
Okay.
But now I guess I'm just realizing that, like, I mean, if I spend my precious time or like doing anything, like if it's not sales, it's like, I mean, like the money that you get in sales, it's just like so much more reasonable. And I mean, I love, working, I love to kick my butt. So like
Yep.
if I'm doing it anyways, why not, earn good money?
Why not?
So
Right? Heck yeah.
so yeah, so basically that's my plan, to start to do that. And then so yeah, I started like this year, I started to write like a bucket list, like things I definitely need to do before I die. That's
Yeah.
it. Because I've done so many times like this Southwestern consulting, which is a great, like this like vision building, it's really good. But at one point I was just like, I see this question that like the answer comes out automatically. So I felt like my creative mind is not working. So I tried to approach it this way, and really exciting things came out. Like
Oh, okay.
really cool. I'm
What
so
what's got you excited on your bucket list?
so like I wanna. Oh my gosh, let me pull it up.
Let's see it. Yeah, heck yeah.
I can just read something up there. Okay, so one thing, I definitely want to write the book at some point.
Cool.
Then I want to design a house or apartment, throw put together a wedding for somebody, meet Beyonce and Florence Pugh, go to USA to visit
Those
all
are
the
very
hosts.
specific celebrities from the US, by the way. Beyonce, very, very normal. Everybody wants to meet Beyonce, but Florence Pugh, why her in particular?
She's amazing. She's
Yeah,
my
she's great.
she's I love her so much. I wish she was my best friend. I don't know. Sorry, best friend.
That's hilarious.
She's so cool. I just well, I watched obviously the Black Widow, right, where she was starring, and with the whole Marvel thing, and she's just, and on Instagram she's great.
Yeah.
She's cooking and stuff. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I don't know, there's like bunch of things, make a movie, have a big closet, go to South America, do some volunteering, learn to meditate,
Cool.
do yoga with Adrienne. Do you know this yoga with Adrienne chick?
Which Adrian are we talking about? I've been doing yoga this past week, so I recommend it. Yeah.
Well, yoga with Adrienne on YouTube. Oh, she's
Okay.
amazing. I love
Cool.
her.
Cool.
I've been doing yoga for like 2 years, I think now.
Nice.
And yeah, so basically bunch of weird, backpack for at least 2 weeks, just
Yeah.
kind of some weird stuff that's just ooh, sounds fun, and just okay, let's do it. So I started to do that, and I got really excited, and kind of I started putting together a calendar, to when I'm gonna do what, and it's getting, it's really I'm getting back into the real world or something. So
real world, right? Okay. That's funny. What's really funny is we always say a Southwestern alumni where it's yeah, Southwestern isn't the real world, and then when we go into quote unquote the real world, we're doing all these other things that just aren't selling books door to door for 8 hours a week. Now we always finish our episodes right with these standout ponytails, the story from the book field that is one of your all-time favorites. You've shared a lot of good ones so far about a minivan that made it 3 summers, and crazy things in South Dakota, yeah, Minnesota, and the UK. So do you have any showstopper, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened to me on the book field? Because that is the real world. It's just a really weird part of the real world. I put you on the spot a little bit, so pardon me.
No, it's okay. Yeah. I'm just thinking, what? I'm just gonna, because they say what came to your mind is the best thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna tell this story for when I followed my manager again, my first summer. It was just a really fun day. It was the same day when that girl crashed my car, but we were just joking around so much, and we had the funnest sit downs ever, and I was recording it, for learning, and I still have those recordings, and they're hilarious. So we sit down with this family, and then so the mom, she's really funny mom, and we're talking, he's asking about his her daughter, and the mom's well, yeah, she's good at school, and and so whatnot, and she's oh, okay, so asking some other questions, and mom is well, she's just a little shit, she just says that. And we're oh, okay, she's a little shit, and and then we kind of keep on talking, and then Gatis is okay, well, can we get the little shit here, so, and and then it just kept on going, and then the dad came, and and then Gatis was hey, maybe dad, you want to see, because I don't want to cause any divorces. And the dad is well, if you're selling divorces, sign me up, and then just it was really funny. And then and then that same day we were joking about like family Bible library.
Yes.
And we were just calling it Schleimery, Schleiber, Schleibery. Just, whatever. I don't know. Schleimery, Schleibery.
You know?
Yeah, Schleimery, Schleiber, Schleibery. And I was like, you know what, Gatis? If you say that on the sit down, I'm going to give you $5.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. This deal, seal the deal. So we're in this sit down with the dad. Mom is like putting kids to bed, and dad, and he's like super involved, and he's like he ends up getting like gold set of the squid books.
Yeah.
And and we're almost done, and I'm like, hey, like do it, because he was already like sold.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my gosh. And he's like, well, oh sir, I forgot to mention we have this Schleimery, Schleiber, Schleibery. And we're both just like laughing our asses off, just like out loud. And the dad, he's just like, he's so confused because he has no clue what's happening. And I have it on recording as well. Like I still have that audio, like where I just cut out that part where he says Schleimery, Schleiber, Schleibery. So that was, I think, that was a really fun thing. And then, Dad ended up not getting the family Bible library set.
The Schleimery.
He did not get the Schleimery, but
gosh, there must be so many linguistic ways that Europeans have had fun selling books over the years. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, unless you have anything else you care to share, Sasha, this has been an awesome chance to get to know you a little bit. Awesome, fun episode. It's really cool to see Europeans coming to America and just like having a mixed bag of experiences of, oh, this is really awesome, and oh, this is like really hard and difficult and weird, and there's like some of the Europeans that get like super off schedule, and then it's like, what are you doing? You're crashing my car, like stop this. But it sounds like you've been an awesome book person yourself. You put 5 awesome summers in, made some impact, even if it wasn't on your direct first years. I'm sure you had some others in the organizations that you worked with that were grateful to be working with you. So any last words that you care to share with the Ponytails audience?
Yes, my cheeks are cramping because I've been smiling for 2 hours. So thank you for having me, Nick. And it was fun. Like, I was kind of like, how it's gonna go. But it was great. It's been fun. So thank you so much. And you guys are like, I feel like you guys are growing at this, because like, because like, I watched some like of the first episodes back, years ago or whatever. Ooh. So it's good, it's so cool to see you guys growing and stuff. So
thank you.
Really exciting. Keep doing what you're doing.
I certainly shall. So be sure to share this link and any other link on the social medias, right? For those checking us out, if this was your first episode, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the social medias. Subscribe, follow, yada yada. Schleimy, right? It's been an awesome privilege just to get to know people's stories over the last year and a half with Andres. And we've got some really awesome people lined up for this month of May. So thanks for starting us out with an awesome episode, Sasha. For the month of May, we've got people like Pedro Vega coming up. If you don't know that name, he is a legend, having run a huge organization out of Texas A&M. You maybe heard of that school, right, Sasha? He's a huge reason why they've had a ton of awesome book people from there. And then his wife, Quentin Robert, his wife, Jessica Lackey, Melinda Vega, Jessica Chappell, and one other person. I actually don't know who this person is, but they are coming up after Pedro's episode on Friday. We're going to record the episode and then go live on Mother's Day with 4 moms in the house. We love our moms in the book business, don't we, right? So that'll be a special episode. And then we've got other people like Adam Liebler, Amberly Kessler, Joni Bickneys, Christy Rivers, and a few awesome book people coming up after this episode here. So be sure to tune in for those, and we will see you all next time. I am Nick Taverdi, co-host of the Ponytails podcast, And today we've been with Sasha. Hard to pronounce last name, especially because I can't read it on the screen right now. Say it first one last time, Sasha.
Kovalova.
Kovalova. Yeah, there we go. So it's been an awesome episode, and we are signing out. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.